Okay, let us talk about this, what we are discussing in the last class. I was just telling you to design the classes. So what classes we wanted? So this is the class that we wanted to have it. So I wanted you to have a class. Okay, sorry. So I want to have a class. So what is my class that I want? So I want to have a class called circle class. So to store the data of a geometrical object, what you call a circle. What are the data that I want to have? The origin of it and radius I want to have. So how we do this? So first you define class name, circle. I'm defining the class. I'm defining the class called circle. Okay. So inside this class, we want some data to be stored. What are the data I want? X value, Y value, that is my origin. Okay, then I want to have the radius. So I will take all these as the private data. I will take. If you want, you can take the private data, or you want to practice it little later also, we can do it, no issues there. So I'm just taking my X, Y, and Z from, sorry, X and Y and my radius. Okay, you want to take the radius R as a shortcut, you can take the shortcut radius, or you can write the full radius, you can write it, no issues there. Or if you feel that no, radius should be what? Of double type, you can convert it to double, okay, as you wish. Right. Now, so I want to have the methods. See, generally, what are the methods we write? Set X, set Y, okay, set radius. These three methods must be there. So instead of writing three methods, I'll just write one method only. I'm writing where the set data method, I'll pass all the data. Okay, all the arguments I'll be passing to only one method there. So I'll take the public void set data. I'm writing a method by name called set data. So where for this method called set data, I'll pass all the data now. So what is that? X value I'll pass, Y value I'll pass, and then my radius I'll be passing for it. We know that the data that you are going to pass, that has to be assigned to the class variables. Okay, then this dot X is equal to X, and then this dot Y is equal to Y. I'm assigning it. Then this dot radius is equal to radius. Then only you have to write this. If the variables are same, the variable that I am using it to call the function, so passing the variable which is receiving the value here and the variable what is there inside my class, both are same, then it is mandatory for you to use this. If the names are different, for example, let us say this, you are writing it as x1, y1, you are writing it here. Okay, then there need not be, this need not be used there. Okay, right. Okay, then I want to have the method called area method. I want to have it. So it's my area method. So either you can have it as void, or if you feel that you want to return it, you can return the method value there. Okay. So area method, I'm defining it. So how do you calculate the area of a circle? So pi r square you're going to take. So here, if you feel that, okay, the value is going to, I'll take double. So AR, I'm taking a variable called AR I'm taking. Now remember, again, you cannot use the same variable called area there, because you'll be having the method name is going to match with that. So let's not use the same name there. Okay, I'm using double AR is equal to pi r square. So pi is what? It is 22 by 7, you write it, or you can write 3.14, you can write it. Okay, 3.14 into radius. It's radius into radius. Now here I'm not using this there. So why I'm not using this? Because I'm having only one variable is there called radius. So there is no collision with another variable. Some other name is not there. Collision variable is not there for me. So I need not to worry about it. I'll just use only radius value. No, you want, okay, if you want to use this there, you can also use this. Nothing wrong there. So using this is not a mistake there. But it is not required because you're having only one variable is there. So this is not required. You can cut off this. Okay, you can use them directly. Now I want to print the area value. So I'll just use system.out.println. Okay, so I want to print the area of my circle. Area of this circle. So I want to print the area of my circle. It's plus. I'll take a variable called AR there. It's going to print for me. Now let us see it's going to work for me or not. Now how it's going to be all that. So I'm just removing this. I want to create the class called circle. Object I'm taking called C1. It's equal to new circle. I'm writing it. Then so I want to define the set for that set method. I'm going to call it. So some object value 10. So radius is 10. I'm giving it. Okay. Then I want to call the area method. I'll call it dot area. If I'm calling it, then you see that it's going to call the area method. And then let's run the code and check. Okay, I got 314 as my area there. Understood? Okay, this is the way how you're going to do it for the circle class. Similarly, so I want to do it for the rectangle class also. Okay, so I'll just copy the same code. Okay, so you can write your main method before the class or after the class. After the main, okay. So here I'm talking about this one, the rectangle class I'm talking about. Before this also you can have the main, or you can write after the main, no problem. We are writing the same class, right? This is my driver class. So hello is my driver class. Hello is my driver class. Okay. So inside this hello class contains my main method is there. So this will help me to execute my class there. Inside this, I'm not writing public classes. I'm writing normal class. I'm writing. This will allow for me. If I'm writing public class circle, it will not allow me to define it. Why? The public class must be defined in the same file whose name, class name, and file name will be matching for us. You cannot define in others. Now I'm talking about now rectangle. So rectangle also will have the x and y will be there, but rectangle will have the additional value is length and breadth. Okay. So I'm just taking the length there. Okay, so now when I talk about my set data method here, this will take my length value and this will take the breadth value. Okay, so this dot radius, now we'll not talk about the radius part. This dot length is equal to length. Okay, then so we want to assign the breadth value also. So this dot breadth is equal to breadth. Okay, both you are going to assign it. Now, how do you calculate the area of rectangle now? Sorry, area of rectangle it is 2 length into breadth, right? It is going to be length into breadth for me. It is length into breadth. So here we did a mistake here. We didn't write the int there. Okay, so my area of my rectangle. So I'll take the same AR there. Okay, so this is one. I'll make another copy of this. We talked about what? Triangle also we talked about. That also you can define a similar way. You can do that rectangle. Triangle also you can do it. Okay. So I want to create the classes. Now you can create one more class, another variable you can create, and then you can do it. So let us understand what we did here. Still it is doing. So let us understand what we did here. Okay, so let us see what we did. I'm just trying to get everything onto one place. So I took this code. I'll take the code out. Circle code I'll take. I'm just placing it here. Yeah. Okay. I'm just trying to get the code into one place. So let it be no problem. So let it break into multi-line. No issues for us. I'll take another text so that I'll take the other part of the screen. Now here in this one, I'll take the rectangle code. Now let's analyze this. I've placed both side by side. I've placed. So I have my circle class I have written. Okay. So in this I'm having XY. Okay, radius are there. I'm taking my rectangle class. So in this also XY is there, length, breadth is there. Set data method, you're writing the code and everything. Okay. So area method here is there, and here also area method, both are there. If you observe it here now, no, okay. When I observe the code here, so there is something wrong that we are following it. That we are trying something wrong way we are doing it. What is that with the wrong we are doing is, here I have taken XY value I have taken. In this class also I'm having XY is there. This class XY is there. In this class also XY is there. Here what we did is we have used a set data method here, one we have written it, set data method one we have written it here. So when I'm writing the set data method here and there, so that means I'm writing the same code, this dot X here, this dot Y here. Again, we are writing this dot X here, this dot Y here. We are writing the same code there. We are writing same code at two different places now. I'm writing the same code at two different places. Now, I don't want to do that one. Okay, I want to avoid this one. Okay, before we discuss more about that one, now what happened here is we are using something individual classes we are building. We are building one separate class called circle class, and we are building one more separate class called rectangle class. Okay, two separate classes I'm building. Two different classes I'm building it without any connection. So don't have any connection will not be there. That's one individual class and this is one individual class. Okay, it's something like this. You're having two different buildings are there. Okay, so you have constructed the whole building as it is this one more building is there that you have constructed as it is like that. Okay, understood. Now I want to have something different concept where I want to have it, where I'm having some class code is already written. That code I want to reuse it. I want to use the code which is already there for me, that I have written. Once I have written that code is there, that code I want to reuse it. Then comes the question, how do I do it? Then, so we have a concept where you can put the code into a new class. Now let us see what we are going to do it now. Just remove this part. Okay. Now here, instead of writing two different classes here, now what I do is I'll take one class I will take. Okay, let me use a class called shape. I'll give a name called shape class. So in this class, what is that? I'm having the repetition part. X and Y are my repetition of it. X and Y is repeated. I'll just remove that one there and I'll put. Now here, so I want to have my set methods. I want to have it. Yes, this also I'll raise. I'll make use of my set method also. I'll make some modifications. Nothing to worry about. I'm just making the modification to code there. So I'm having my XY values are there. I've written the code there. So now here, able to understand what I'm doing? So I'm trying to get the things which are common for me into one class. Now in this class, we had the radius there extra. That radius I'll remove, I'll leave it as it is. Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm defining, okay. So I don't want this X and Y value, already we are defined there. Earlier we are defined it. Now I'll use only radius only, I'm assigning it. Understood what I did? I've assigned only the radius part I've assigned. Okay. So when you talk about the area, calculation of area, you do it. Getting it what I did? So now I'm defining a class called shape class. I'm defining. So let us discuss what we are doing is. So we define a class called shape. Okay, we defined a class called shape there with this data. Then I'm defining a class called circle. I'm defining it. Try to follow it, then we'll discuss again. Okay, so I've defined a class called now circle class I'm defining. But no, I'm not telling anything over here like, okay, shape is already there. No, you just make use of it. I'm not telling it. So I want to tell my system that make use of the class called shape class, which is already there. I'm having some data is there. Some methods are there in that. Please use that one into your class. Now I want to tell it. Then what I do is instead of writing the code like this, instead of writing the code like this, what I do is I'll use a keyword called extends. So the extends keyword tells that you make use of the existing code. Okay, what is my existing code? Circle class, sorry, shape class. I'll say extends shape. That means I'm telling that you make use of the class called shape class to create the class called circle. Then, so let us see this code. Okay, I'll just copy this. I'll put now here. Okay, so now I'm telling that make use of the class called shape class to create the class called circle I did. Okay, similarly for rectangle also, so I want to use the same concept, I want to use it. So I'll say this one also, you extend the class called shape. Now it's not required for me, the XY values are not required. You just go with the length and breadth. So when I'm talking about set data method, no, I don't want these XY values. I want only length and breadth should be there. So I'm doing like this, right? Then I want to calculate my area part. So I'm defining another class, I'm defining it. So I'm having another class there. Got this, what we did? So we had one class called shape class. Okay, so we are defining a class called shape. From this class called shape, I'm trying to create another class called circle class from the shape class. I'm creating another class called rectangle class, which is getting created from the class called shape. So what is an advantage for me? So this XY is there, right? I'm not writing it for every class now. For this class and for this class, I'm not writing it. I'm already having one class is having that XY is there, that I'm trying to reuse it again. I'm trying to reuse them. Now this concept is what we call the inheritance. The concept is called inheritance. Now in this inheritance, what we are doing, what the class is there already for you, that class we are going to reuse it. So in the inheritance, we are going to use a keyword called extends keyword. We are going to use it. Okay. So any questions over here? So anything that you are not understood? Anything that you are not understood here? Here, remember this shape class, you call it as a base class, and the new class that you're creating is the circle, right? This is called the derived class. If you call the shape as the parent, then circle will be acting as child. If you call this one as a super class, then the circle will be the subclass. Any name you can use it. Using a name is not a question, an important thing here. So the concept is important for me. Super, sub, base, derived. Okay, parent, child, you call it as. Okay, understood there? That's how we are going to define the concept of inheritance there for us. Done. Okay. Now here, if you look in, there is a class. I'm sorry. There is one method is there called area method is there for me. I'm using a method called area here. Here also I'm defining the method called area. But the area method is not there here for me in my shape class. Shape class area method is not there. So then what does it, when the area method is not there in my base class, okay, then what will happen? So you can use your own implementation. Okay, or let us say, I want to have the shape method I want to define in my, area method I want to define in my shape class. Is it possible for you to define the shape method in my area class? Sorry, area method in the shape class. Is it possible? You understand what I'm telling? I want to, there is a method called area method is there. This I want to define in my base class. That is base or super class, want to define it. Is it possible to define that? It is possible. See, whatever you want, you can do it. Like you are defining a method called set data method is there, right? That set data method, you want to define it. Yes, you can define the set data method, you can do it. Okay, you can define the set data method can be defined, no issues there. But the problem comes is what code you'll write in the shape class? What is the code that you'll be writing for the shape class?
Common to both of the class.
How can you write common to both? I'm calling it for my circle class, or I may be calling it for my rectangle class. So how do you know that for which class you're calling it? We don't know that. That means writing the code for the area method in the shape class is not going to give me any sense there. It doesn't make me any meaningful thing is not going to be there. There is no meaning in writing the code for the area method in the shape class. That is in my super class. Then we come across something. So we don't want to do like that. Then the code need not be defined. Okay, let us see what is going to happen. I don't want to define the code there. Okay, I'll go back to my Eclipse. So what I'm doing is I'm taking my shape class. So in my shape class, I'm trying to define the area method, right? So I'll just define public area method. So it's not going to return anything. Void area method I'm defining it. Now here writing the code is what is not going to make me any meaningful information not going to be given for me. Then what I do is, so instead of this one, now I don't want to write the code. So when I don't want to write the code, I'll just put a semicolon there. When I put a semicolon there, it will not allow me to do that. A class, when I'm going to define a method inside a class, there should be body of the class must be defined. So if I don't want to define the body of the class, body of the method I don't want to define, then that method has to be defined as something called abstract. Okay, then the method has to be defined as something called abstract. Now you're defining it as abstract there. Okay, so I'm writing public abstract void, okay, area I'm writing it. So now the area method has become an abstract for me. When the method becomes abstract, then the new class that you're creating it, that's a circle class which you're going to create, the circle class which you're going to create, that must define the area method. That must define the area method. So, okay, it's been done there. So no issues there. Okay. So this is also defining it, and the rectangle class also is defining it. Now let us say my rectangle class or my area, my circle class is not defining the area method. It is not defining. Okay, let me use some other name. I'm writing a name called, okay, area, some other name. Okay, let me use a name called XYZ. For time being, I'll use a name of XYZ. I'm trying to use a name called XYZ. Then when I'm trying to use a name called XYZ, okay, so what is going to happen for me? Let's see this. Okay. Rectangle we have taken, no? XYZ. Okay, sorry. When I'm defining a method of the type called abstract, then the class must be defined as abstract. The class must be defined as abstract. So when I'm defining the class as abstract, then you see that automatically your rectangle class is going to create a problem for me. Why it is creating a problem? So the method what is there, what you call the abstract method in my class, that must be defined in my subclass. So it has to be defined the area method, right? Like that. So if I'm not defining the abstract methods which are there in my base class, then the subclass also becomes the abstract for me. So when the class becomes abstract, it means that you cannot create the instance of it. Okay, right. And let us talk more about this one. Now my set data method will take only. No, okay. Let us analyze a little more on this one. So I'm having my shape classes there. So inside this one, I'm having a method called set data method is there with two different arguments are there for me. With two arguments are there. Okay, that means you are having a method inside your base class. You are having a method inside the base class with the name called set data. I'm having a method by name called set data. So let's see this. Yeah, here we are having it. Fine. Now, so I'm having a method called set data here in my shape class. Okay, so you take your circle class, you take it. In this one also, we have the set data method is there. Okay, so you talk about your rectangle class, you talk about. So in the rectangle class also, I'm having a, yeah, we are having the set data method is there, right? So here, how many arguments are there for the set data? Two arguments are there for me. The number of arguments are 2 for this. What about this one for the rectangle? The number of arguments are 2 only. Length and breadth 2. What about this one? This is 1 for me. You would understand? Okay. You would understand what I'm telling? The set data method, which is there for me in my shape class, is having 2 arguments. The set data method, which is there for me in my rectangle class, is having 2 arguments. Okay, this is 2. Right. Now, the set data method, which is there for me in my circle class, is only having 1 argument. Okay. Understand what I said? Let us go back to the code. Now, we know that in case of the inheritance, whatever the we know that in case of your inheritance, what happen? Whatever the methods or whatever the properties are there in your base class, that will be inherited into the subclass. The base class methods and properties are going to be inherited into the subclass. Okay. Now, this is what is happening. So I'm having my circle classes there. Okay. I'm having the circle classes there. I'm creating the object from the circle class. Then I'm trying to call the set data method. I'm going to call it. So let us have this, have a look. I'm just opening my parentheses there. Now you see that it says that there are 2 methods. It is showing me 2 different syntaxes. It is showing, or it is showing me 2 different, what do you call that? No, it is you call as syntax, or there is something, what else, what do you call them? No, I'll just show you again. See, let us analyze it again. I'm having my class called what? Shape class is there. So inside this one, I'm having my set data method is there, which is going to take 2 arguments for me. I'm having a class called circle. I'm defining a method called set data with 1 argument. Clear? That means base class is having 1 set data is there with 2 arguments. Subclass is there with 1 argument. Set data method is having 1 argument. Able to understand? Getting it what I am saying? You got this? This is what we are talking about. So this, what? 2 arguments for me. Okay. Sorry, I'm not talking about the rectangle. Sorry for that. Okay. I'll talk about the circle. So this one, and this one, right? So 2 is there, 1 is there. So Java will understand that, okay, one method is there with 2 arguments, another method is there with 1 argument. You remember, now the names are what? Both are same. Names are both are same there. One is set data, the other one is also set data. You remember anything? 2 methods are there with 1 name. 2 methods are there for me with only 1 name. The concept is called what? Method overloading it is called. We said there is a concept called method overloading where we are having multiple methods are going to be there with same name. But when I'm having multiple methods with the same name, then parameters will be different. The number of parameters should be different, we said. Now here what happened? One is having 2 parameters, the other one is having 1 parameter is there. So what happens now? When I look into my code there, when I'm going to write my code, okay. So you see now, I'm trying to use this one. So now you see that set data, integer radius is there, set data xy is there. So both are available for you. Understand what I'm telling? 2 methods I'm getting available for your set, for your circle object. Okay. So I will do one thing. I'll take another class is there, right? For us, rectangle is there. I'll just take the rectangle class. R1 is equal to, okay, R1 I'll take, it's equal to new rectangular, right? Now I want to set the data for the rectangle object. So I'll say R1 dot set data. Now observe there the set data method. When I'm looking into my set data method, it is having only one method is that it is showing for me. Set data method is of length and breadth only it is showing. What about the x and y there? You able to get the concept there? See, you are having, let us have analysis of the circle class first. In the circle class, we had set data method with 1 argument. Shape class, we had set data method with 2 arguments. So what happened when I'm working with my circle object? Okay, when I'm working with the circle object, you see that 2 different methods it is showing it for me. One is x and y, the other one is radius. Now the same, I'm trying to work with the rectangle class now. So when I'm talking about my rectangle class, what is happening? It is showing me only one method it is showing. It is not showing me the other method, that is x and y value method, it is not showing it. It is showing me only one method it is showing. So where I'm not able to access the method which is there in my shape class. The shape class method is not available for me there. Now why it is so like that? Because what happens is you are trying to have both the classes, that is the shape class. Now I'm talking about my rectangle class. Both are having the same method is there called set data methods are there. The method name is same. But what is the problem there? Both are having the same number of arguments now. Both are having the same number of arguments. In the base class, it is only 2. In subclass, is only 2. Base class also 2 arguments. Subclass also 2 arguments. Now what happens here? Method is same. Method is same. But arguments are also same. Okay. Now here what is problem? But one is in the base class, one is in my subclass. You understand? One is in my base class, one is in my subclass. So what happens now? What is there in your base class, that will be made hidden by the one which is there in my subclass. In subclass, you are having a method called set data method is there. So this method, what you call the set data method, which is there in my subclass, this will make the base class method to be hidden, because both are of the same arguments. Argument type is same, number of arguments is also same, both everything is same. So what happens? Automatically the method which is there in my base class, that is made hidden for me in my subclass. Understood? It is made hidden for me, or it is overwriting it now. It is overwriting. It is not overloading here now. It's going to overwrite for me. Okay. It is not overloading. It is overriding for me now. Okay. So what is there in my base class, it is made to be hidden for me in my subclass for us. Okay, so you understood what I said? Okay, for the okay, so I was just telling you this. So we said that we are having two methods are going to be there. One is called the set data method, and another method is also there with the same name called set data only. So here what we are discussing, we said I'm having two different methods are there. One method is there in my subclass, the another method is there in my base class. When two different arguments are there, that is number of arguments here 2, so here the argument is 1, and here is also 2 arguments for me. Okay, now when there is different number of arguments are there, so both the methods are made available for the object. When I'm going to use my object, so both the methods are available. Methods with 2 arguments and methods with the 3 arguments, both are available for us. Okay. Hello. Understood here. I'm having two methods are there. One method is there in my base class, another method is there in my subclass. So in subclass, in one subclass, I'm having only one argument is there. In one subclass, 2 arguments are there. So the one which is having, okay, the one which is having 2 arguments, okay, that is in my rectangle class, 2 arguments are there. So what happens? It is going to hide the one which is there in my base class. Which one, the one which is having one argument there, what happened? Both are made available as 2 different arguments you are going to have it. Both are made available to you, right? Understood there? Now, so when I'm having same number of arguments are going to be there, the base class method is going to be hidden in the subclass method, in the subclass. Whereas the different number of parameters are there, both are made available for you as we are going to have the different number of arguments are going to be there. Then comes a question, how do I call the base class method now? So if I want to call the base class method, then what I need to do is I need to use a keyword called super has to be used. If I want to use the base class method. So where it is possible for me to call that base class method, I can call that base class method in my subclass by using a keyword called super. Okay. Otherwise, it is not possible for you to call the method which is there for you in your base class. Understood? Yeah.
Okay, method base class lo 2 ఉన్నాయి parameters. Sub class lo 3 రాయొచ్చు.
Cross coach problem. You can write. You can have more number of parameters can be given. Now here the problem comes for me is to call the base class method. That is, in this one, I want to call the base class method. I want to call it. Then what I need to do, I'll use a keyword called super dot. Then so I'll be writing set data method. I'll be writing now. Okay, I'm using super dot set data method of 2 values. I'll be passing it. Okay, so then I'll just write 10 comma super dot set method I'm going to call. So when I'm using super dot set method, it's going to call the method of your base class. So this is a call to the base class method. So this is a call to the base class method. Okay, this is a call to the base class method. You can also call it in circle also, no problem. Here also you can use. So super dot set data. You have this. Okay. No radius. No need to give radius. Only one value. You can pass 10. Now Eclipse is trying to suggest you some code that need not be the same code you can write. Okay. If I'm writing 10, that X value, Y value it is going to show. Yeah, one is X, the other one is Y. You can see on top, it's also showing the same syntax for you. So there it is showing X and Y, it is showing. Variable is there that you can use that one to call that one to pass. You can pass those variable values to that particular method. That is what it is. It is giving you suggestion. It is given. So you can use that one, or you can use that without that one also. No problem. Okay, you can call this set class. Set data method can be called in the subclass. Yeah. Nothing will happen with the radius. So the where you are using the radius variable value to call that one. That's it. Nothing more than. Okay. Now, you understood this, everybody? So how I'm going to call my base class method here? So what happens if I'm going to have the same methods are going to be there? Okay. All these things you need to understand, right? Okay. Now let us talk more about this one. Now this I'm having an abstract class is going to be there called shape. Okay, there is one method is there called class is there called shape. So in this one I'm having a method called area is there. So another class is there called circle is there. In that also I'm having a method called area is there. So I'm having another class called rectangle. So in this also I'm having a method called area. Done? Any questions? See, anything that you are not able to understand, please let me know it. Okay. Right. Now what I'm doing is I'll just I'm going back to my main code. Before I go to the main code, I'll just copy the code now. So I think we didn't copy that one, right? That code, previous code we didn't copy, right? Okay, no issues. I'll make changes and I'll just share that code also. I'll share with you. Okay. Yeah. Now, observe carefully what I am doing it now. I am creating an object from the shape class. Is it possible? That means you're not active in the classroom. Shape is what? Shape is what? Shape is what? It's a super class. It's a class. What else it is? It's a class. Okay, it's a super class. Then what else it is? Most important thing. So let me go to the code. It is an abstract class. Can we create the instance of an abstract class? No, it's not possible for us to create the instance of the abstract class. That means if I'm trying to write it's equal to new shape here, what will happen? It gives me the error there. See, you see that, sorry, new, it has been typed twice. I'm trying to create the object there. So if I'm trying shape s is equal to new shape, if I'm trying, it says that you cannot instantiate this particular class because it's an abstract class. But whereas, so for a abstract class, we can create the, what we can create? We can create the reference, right? So this is the reference of my shape class. Yes or no? Right. Then I'm creating the object from the rectangle class, circle class. Okay, I'm passing the data to it. Okay, then I want to call the area method. I want to call it. So before I call the area method, so I want to set the radius for this one. Okay, so I'll use only one value. I'll use, okay, set data of, okay, I'll take the radius as 10 there. Then I'm calling the area method. But before I call the area method, so what I will do is, so I have my reference S1 is there, right? For this one, I'm assigning the data of my P1. That is, I'm trying to assign the data of subclass to the base class. No, it is base class. It's my base class reference is equal to subclass object. I'm writing it. So that is, I'm assigning the data of the subclass object to base class reference. Then after that, I'm calling the method s1.area. I'm going to call it. Understood now what I did? Okay, I'm talking about my rectangle class there. So in my rectangle class, I'll just give the length and breadth value 10 and 20. I'm giving the length and breadth. Then after that, I'll assign the data of the rectangle object to my subclass object. Sorry, my subclass reference. Then I'm calling the area method there. Understood now what I'm doing is? So let's run the code and check what is going to happen for me. Now you see that. So I'm going to get the area of a circle and then I'm getting the area of a rectangle. I'm going to get. I'm getting the area of a circle and I'm getting the area of a rectangle. Understood what I did? I have created the reference from the shape class. I created the object from the subclass. Okay, that is, this is my base class and this is my subclass. Base class object, sorry, base class reference, subclass object I have created C1. Okay, then what I did, I have assigned the object of C1 data to S1, that is to my reference. Then I call the area method. So when I'm calling the area method, what is doing? It is calling the area of circle. I've assigned the data from the circle object, and when I'm calling the area method, it is giving me the data from circle object. Then again, what I did, I've created another object from the rectangle class. Then I'm assigning the data of rectangle class, that is rectangle object, to my reference. Then I'm calling the s1.area, I'm calling it. So now when I'm calling this one area, so here what is happening? Here it is calling me the rectangle class method. And when I'm calling this here, it is calling me the circle class method, it is going to call it. Getting it what I'm telling? First time when I'm calling the area method, I have assigned the data of circle object. And when I call the area method, it is going to call me the area method of circle only. I have assigned the object of circle, so it will call me the method of circle only. Next, what I am doing, I'm assigning the data of rectangle object to my shape reference. Then I'm calling my s1.area. There what is happening? It is again now calling me the method of rectangle only, not the circle. It is calling the data from my, okay, I'm calling my data from my rectangle object, is going to call it. So first time when I'm calling it, it is calling from the circle. Second time when I'm calling, it is calling from the rectangle. Any questions? Now, I am calling the same method, area s1.area here, s1.area here. So when I'm calling the method s1.area here, the behavior is different. And when I'm calling this one here, the behavior is different. Getting it what I'm telling? The out, okay, let me use the other word. The output here is going to be different. The output here is going to be different. Understood? After assigning the circle object data, you're calling the area method. The output is different. I'm assigning the object of rectangle to the shape class. Then I'm calling the area method. The output is different there. I'm having same method, I'm calling it. Twice I'm calling it. But it is giving me two different outputs it is giving it. Is it giving or not for me here? You can also see it here. I'm getting two different outputs. Once I'm calling it, it is giving me one output. Another time I'm calling it, it's giving me different output. Okay, that means same method is having multiple behaviors are there. Same method is having multiple behavior. The concept called polymorphism, it is called. The concept is called polymorphism. So this is called the polymorphism. Any questions here? This is called the polymorphism. So how the polymorphism is possible? Because of my change in the context there. So what I did, first I've assigned the data from the circle object, and when I call it, I'm getting a different output. After that, I'm assigning the data from the rectangle object. Again, I'm calling the area method. It's a different. So I'm getting two different outputs based upon the context. So first I've assigned the data of rectangle circle. It is giving me the output of circle. Second, I'm assigning the data from the rectangle. I'm getting the rectangle output. So two different outputs I am going to get. When I'm going to get the two different outputs based upon what I have assigned. I have assigned the data from the circle, or I have assigned the data from the rectangle. Based on that, it is giving me two different outputs. Understood? Any questions here? Same method I'm calling it. Two different outputs I'm going to get. When I'm going to get two different outputs, after assigning something from one object I'm assigning the data from some other object. So which object I have assigned, that object data only it is going to call. And very important thing there, you can see there what you are assigning the data to the shape class. Okay, to the shape class object. Now this also can be written in other way also we can write it. This we can also do it in other way also we can do it. So how we can do it is, the object is there, right? Okay. I'm just showing you one more way. You can also write like this. The shape C1 is a continuous circle can also be written. So rectangle is there. We can also write like this. shape. Okay, R1 is equal to rectangle, you can write. Everyone understand what I'm telling? Not necessary that you have to write what? Circle C1 is equal to new circle. You can write shape C1 is equal to new circle, you can write. This is okay for us. Understood what I'm telling? Just copy this. I can do like this. That is what here we are doing what? So it is base class. Okay, base class, some object name is equal to new subclass. This is what we did. Base class, object name is equal to new subclass. Okay, new subclass I'm writing. This will work for me. That is example what we did there. Shape. Okay, so what we did, shape C1 is equal to new circle. This works for you. Understood? Now let us say you are writing like this. So I'm writing what? Rectangle. Okay, C1 is equal to new circle. This is not possible. This is not possible for us. The other way, okay. This doesn't work. Okay. That doesn't work for you. Or you're writing the other way. Let us say you're not writing like that. So I want to write circle. C1 is equal to new shape. I want to write the other way. I'm trying to have the reverse way. It is not at all possible. Why? We cannot create the instance of abstract class. Abstract class instances cannot be created. So this is ruled out for us. The other way is also not possible. You can have what? Base class object is equal to new subclass, you can write. Okay, understood? You cannot also have what? Subclass object new subclass. That is a different class name, you cannot have it. You need to have the same class. So it allows only to have what? Base class and subclass. That relation is there for us, that we can have it. The other way is not possible. Yeah. Any other questions?
So when you put shape C1 is equal to
No, nothing. Shape C1 is equal to new circle I'm writing. So I'm creating the object of circle class.
Super class నుంచి మనం సబ్సెట్ కి వాడొచ్చు సార్ సబ్ క్లాస్ కి.
Okay, see, set data method will not talk about the set data method. We'll talk about only the object part. So how we are going to create the objects only I'm discussing. I'm not talking about the other part. Okay, I'm not talking about the other part. I'm talking about how the objects are going to be created. So I want to create the object, C1 object I want to create using the shape class. We can use this reference can be used. That's what I mean to say is we can have the references, that is shape C1 is equal to new circle we can create. Okay. Yeah. I'm just talking about the object creation only. I'm not talking about the other things. And not about the output, nothing we are not talking about. Object creation only I'm talking about. So shape class, it's going to be my base class object. Okay, base class object is equal to new subclass. That is possible for us. Okay, that doesn't give us any errors. Okay. Without see, I'm just showing you this is possible. Now what we do is what? So instead of doing this method, so we'll be writing. So you create the object from the circle class. Okay, then so you're going to have the assignment, you're going to do it. So that is So S1 is equal to C1. You do the assignment and then you do the rest of the thing. Okay. We said that is possible. How we can do it? The object can be created. That method also can be done. Because you may come across some examples where you also will be doing like that. Okay. Yeah. And one more thing, what we do is, if I want to pass the data, like for example, so here X value, Y value, we want. Yeah. When I talk about my rectangle class, I want to pass the data for this X and Y value also I want to pass it. From where the place where you are creating the object. Now that is in my main. So I'm creating the object. Okay. We'll take this one only, shape only, this one only will take, circle only will take. So circle, I'm passing this rectangle, set data I'm passing it. And then in rectangle, I'm passing the set data. So here I'm defining what? 2 arguments I'm defining. And here in my circle, I'm having 2 arguments, only 1 argument is there. So what about the rate, X and Y? So X and Y, what we did, we said that it is made available. So you can have the X and Y can be called again. You can call that one also, right? What we can do. So X1, sorry. C1 object dot set data method. 2 data methods are available. You can assign the data for X and Y of your base class. But what about my rectangle class? So I cannot pass the data directly. I cannot pass it. Then indirectly it becomes for me internally I need to call. What value will be passing it? We don't know. So if I want to pass the data from my object, if I want to pass it, then what you need to do is you can change the rectangle class definition. You can change there. So to change the rectangle class definition, you can have what? Few more methods you can add there. The X value, Y value also can be passed as an argument and in turn, so that X and Y value will be passed to your base class. Okay, so I want to have this X and Y. So I'm defining X and Y here. And when I'm calling my class here, the base class method, when I'm going to call it, I'll just pass the values of X and Y. But when I'm going to create the object in the main part, so when I'm going to create the object in the main part, then so I'll just rectangle. So the object is equal to new. I'm creating the object. Then, so the object R1 dot set data method, if I look in there, so I'm having one with 4 arguments. I'll pass all the 4 values to it at a time. So XY value, then so 10, length, and breadth. So I'm passing all the values from the main part itself. So circle also will do the small change, and then we'll have what? So that we pass all the 3 values will be passing it from the main object, and internally you can pass it to your base class object. Data can be passed like that. Okay, this is another method how we write the coding there. Okay, yeah. So you understood that basically the concept of what you call abstract classes. Okay, the inheritance. So generally when you talk about your abstract classes, okay, we cannot create the instances of the abstract class. So why we define the abstract class means whenever you want some implementation has to be mandatory done by the subclass, then you're going to define the abstract classes, you're going to define it. Okay, yeah. So any questions here? So you revise it once, so then we'll discuss once again, we'll discuss the concepts. Okay, you have any difficulties in that, we'll discuss once again. Okay, yeah. So any questions?